founders will participate in the buyback amidst so much of acrimony between the company and the founders?
No, I don't know whether the founders will participate or not. You had to ask them. But I think what has happened in Infosys, the board has let down the investors. The corporate governance has been very poor. You have several instances starting from the severance pay to ex-CFO, to the ex-legal counsel, to the Panaya issue. I think the answers are not forthcoming. All we heard was there was an investigation and they given a clean chit. Murthy asked for the report to be published because shareholders have the right to know. When you spend 10 crores of shareholders' money in doing an investigation, they have the right to know what the investigators have looked at, what is the conclusion, and what is the process they have gone through. The scope of any investigation is very important. We have to see whether the scope is defined properly. So I think the board has failed in multiple fronts. That's why earlier I said Sage should step down to make sure the board approaches the founders and have an amicable relationship. I think the time has come for the chairman to step down. Co-chairman also need to step down because he have publicly discussed about the performance of the CEO, and that is one of the trigger points for the CEO to leave. After all this happened, come and say the board is fully behind CEO has no meaning. And third, I think the audit committee chair and the nomination committee chair should also take responsibility.
Which would be Rupa Kudva and Jeff Lehman.
Yeah, Jeff Lehman. Both of them should step down. If all the four people step down, some new members come into the board and they talk to the founders, take help in searching for a new CEO. I think that is the only way forward. There's no point in belittling founders and taking a public panga with them and think that everything will change. No CEO is going to join if the acrimony between the founders and the board is going to continue.
Right. Before I get to the way forward, a lot of criticism now also being directed at, Mr. Narayan Murthy, saying that perhaps he did not know how to let go of, a company he founded. Why was everything done in such a public way? It could have been done through discreet means. And is he just holding on to values for the sake of it? What would you say to such criticisms?
No, you have to clearly see what is the issues. Murthy never raised any issue on performance of Vishal Sikka. It is some board members who privately went and told him, Vishal is not a CEO material, he is a CTO material. Murthy has not said that. Murthy never commented about Vishal Sikka's performance or strategy. All he had been talking about all along is the governance practices, disclosure practices, which Infosys always had been known for. It's a gold standard for governance. Has been let down by the board, and he wanted corrective action. If he wanted power, he would not have left in 2014. He could have continued in some form. The whole founders left together, gave it to the professional board. It was a good experiment because you need to transition from a founder-run company to a professionally managed company. They all left together to give freedom to the new CEO to run the business. But what happened in Infosys is the governance failure. It's a collective failure of the board.
Sir, but are these, his assumptions? Because Mr. Murthy is someone, who's always held a lot of premium on data. So is there data to back his convictions that there has been wrongdoing, there has been some gratification perhaps by executives or relatives of executives?
See, look at the whistleblower complaints. These are all serious complaints. The whistleblower said some people in the management have personally benefited in some of the transactions. It's all serious allegation on the board members and the management. When you have a serious allegation like this, the board should come out clean. They should explain much more than what is required. Here you have a board which doesn't want to explain, which doesn't want to give all the information to the shareholders and always say we are clean. I mean, who is going to believe that? Unless you put the full report.
But is it just Mr. Murthy who's not believing them? Do they have support of other institutional investors, other founders? Because we haven't heard from anyone else.
No. Some people are very vocal, some people don't talk, but all of them have the same view. And a lot of shareholders also reached out to Murthy.
Are you talking about investors?
Yeah, investors also reached out to Murthy. They also are concerned about all the happenings in the Infosys and they all wanted corrective actions. Probably they would have met the board also and expressed the same concern. All I am saying is, board has not done enough to alleviate all the concerns the investors had on the company.
Right. Last two questions, sir. In terms of the CEO selection, what's going to happen there? Will it for sure be an internal candidate? Is there any chance of attracting an external candidate?
No, I think the CEO selection is not the most important thing. I think the most important thing is to first restructure the board, let go some of the board members, and then have an ideal balance in the board, which will create the checks and balances, then any professional good CEO will come and join. If you have an acrimonious relationship with a large investor, like the founders who have built the company, and the board is not restructured, the same people run the company, I don't see any hope of any good professional CEO joining the company.
And will you be playing any role, sir, as former board member, former CFO in this whole transition process?
No, I am a small shareholder. I also have the same concerns like all the shareholders. I think the governance standards in the company has deteriorated in the last few years. It has to be set right, because Infosys always commanded a higher premium because of the governance. That is totally lost today. That is decimated. I think that is why the restructuring the board, getting new people who have got impeccable track record will solve the problem.
But these
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/etnow.